Ooh, another cold, frosty one here. Well down in the minuses last night. Oh, what a gorgeous fall day though. The sun's out beaming now. The frost is starting to eat up off of stuff. The windows of the truck are clear. I had to take my cap off because with the cap on, the sun out here, I am completely shadowed. But my brother got home from work last night. He works a couple hours away, and he works in metal fabrication mostly. But he brought home a whole load of steel. I'm not sure if you can see it here on the lawn. A load of steel. I called in my order to their steel supplier that they deal with in there, and got everything I needed, mapped it out on paper, and we have steel. And we have a truck cab that's painted and ready for steel, a blank slate. So I'm hoping today we can put that link into work and get to something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Now we have to put two ribs down the back of the truck. We can't put our ribs right across here. If we put our ribs right across on the bed of the truck or the chassis that's there now, we'd have to have wheel wells up through our deck. I don't want that. I want a whole flat surface. So we have to raise the whole deck up off. Another reason, if you had your ribs directly on the chassis, you'd have to U-bolt each rib to the chassis, which would be ridiculous. Because that's code here. You're not actually allowed to weld this to the chassis, so this will always be essentially removable in to some degree or another from this vehicle, which is great because if you spend a whole bunch of money for steel to put a deck on the truck, if you ever decided, you know, that you totaled the truck or something, you could take the deck off, put a couple axles under it and a reach, and make yourself a trailer. So that was in my mind too when I was designing this. But we're going to have two stringers here, C-channel. The ribs are going to be across that. These will be U-bolted right around the chassis. That's how this system will work. Don't worry, I haven't gone and done a whole bunch of work with it yet. All I did was throw all these pieces of C-channels up here so I could see some rough ideas of spacing and to start marking stuff out and laying it out. So I've just tacked the very back and the very front rib are tacked in and square with each other. So what I'm doing now is I'll put in the second one from the front and the second one from the back. Our deck is going to taper out and in. So once I get those, I can run a string line, that's what I'm thinking, and we'll get them all evened up with that. For the very back rib, so this will be cut off and this will be cut off back here flush. Our deck will taper out to here. It'll remain that width right up until this second one, till we taper back into the cab width again. Now for the first time we can see the shape of our deck. Now it's not quite as simple as having 8 evenly spaced ribs. We could do that over 12 feet because that's what our stringers are. It's not that simple. First off, our first two, we want to make sure the taper is even and that we don't have too much or too little taper aesthetically. So we place the second from the front and back aesthetically. Now, two more are key, and that is how they're oriented over the wheels. We can't have a rib located directly over the wheels because that gives us the least amount of clearance. By straddling the wheel, that allows our wheel, if the truck sags, allows our wheel to go up between. That'll give us an extra couple inches of clearance. So we'll go ahead now and put those two, the ones that are straddling the wheels, in place. Then the rest will just split the difference of the space left on either side. That's how we're going about this. Okay, so that's the official location now. All ribs have been tacked in place, just single tacks, very minimal. Just finished lunch and the sun is finally going down enough. We got a little bit of cloud cover that you can get a decent video shot. Man, that sun is a pain. We've got everything measured out, tacked in place with single tacks. Now we can go and start laying down some welds. Gonna push up some heat now, push up the speed, and let it rip. Tell you how good it feels after months working on that cab bodywork, welding basically pop cans. Just 16 gauge and thinner. 16 gauge, the new stuff I bought, the original body thinner than that, welding that for months. We put the roof on, we put the back in the cab, fender replacements, patch repairs. So much welding with that link in there. But it's so nice now to be able to get on this, crank the heat, and just jam that heat in there and just really sink some heat into that steel. We're welding with 3/16C channel here, and this welder can handle it no problem. And just I don't even have it turned up all the way, but so nice to be able to lay down some real heat. Is really refreshing. starting to get lazy now. 4 o'clock on a Saturday. I've been picking at this all day. You get lazy, you get complacent, you get sloppy. A day that was so good, you end up with the last little bit feeling defeated because you got poor results. So let's slow it down, mock it up properly. Yeehaw! What do you think? Shape for the rear skirt? That's what I'm framing up here now. Instead of having to do a whole bunch of heavy plating and stuff, we already have the structural bumper back here. So we're just looking for something aesthetic to create an apron to protect oncoming or traffic traveling behind us. We're going to put flaps on, but we want something aesthetic. We also want something to put our big 6-inch lights in. So this will be great. I'll frame it this shape. I'll support it with some rods behind to give it some good rigidity, and then we'll sheet it over with a bit of probably 16 gauge or something. Our Lincoln 140 multi-process here put in some awesome work again today, and I think we had a pretty successful Saturday. Look, I can't believe how much we got done. I really wasn't expecting to do that much today. It's 3:44 in the afternoon here right now. Very dark. It's getting that time of year. We live here in Newfoundland, a little more northern. The days will get cut really short soon, especially when we do a fallback. We'll be eating 5 p.m. supper in the dark. So right here we did 1/8-inch thick steel, 4-inch wide banner all the way around, a nice skirt onto that C-channel, and it's 2-inch deep C-channel, and we're flush with the bottom here, so that means we have 2 inches of depth on top. That means we're able to do 2x material, which is not my plan. I want to do 1-inch decking boards, so that'll nestle right down on top of these ribs, right down inside here, 1-inch pressure treat. And that will still give us a 1-inch lip, so that if you happen to drive away with a piece of chain or a ratchet strap or something laid out, a hitch receiver or something laid out on your flatbed, it's not going to just tumble and roll off the side the first turn you go around. It's a safety feature. You'll have that 1-inch lip that'll keep things in there. So I'm really happy about that. See, we went tapered into the cab here. We'll get some lights in here. We're flat all the way back, and then we taper in on the back. And there it is right there. We're all symmetrical. It's the same distance and angle of bend right here. And I just think it gives a nice aesthetic look. Instead of coming back to a big square clunky back, everything's just a little nicer flowing. It's just nicer. Again, we tape down here. We're framing up. This is pretty solid here right now. We don't even have any bracing in this dimension yet. Very solid. We'll get sheet plate on here and trim it. Our lights will go in here. Man, this is gonna be so nice. See, I left that gap here so our boards will come flush, our 1-inch boards. I tapered this down here so it's not a hard square, just to give it a nice organic look. Very clean. We're matched up perfectly. Everything came out so straight and nice on this side. We're gonna have to put an extension on our gas filler here. We're not venting well. Someone mentioned in the comments that that would be an issue, and it is. So I'm gonna have to lengthen that line. I'm gonna put this filler cap in through the side right here. So we're gonna move back. I'm gonna drill a hole and have it in the side plate. I think I might have to do an extension down here to mount that filler plate in. That's right, because our boards will come in here. And then we'll have to add in some pipe. We'll have some lights on the side.